meeting. And I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Tim Smith to make an announcement that is kind of heavy on everybody up here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and it is with a sad heart and a heavy heart that I let you know of the passing of Tony Weaver. She passed away early this morning, and as many of you know, Tony was the clerk to the board for a number of years. Took all the minutes for not only this board meeting, but for other committees. And she had a real knack for getting good, accurate minutes that reflected the essence of the meeting. And so your clerk of the court family is sad today, but we're also thankful and joyful that Tony was in our lives, and we're all praying for her family during these difficult times. And if you'll remember, it was just 2 weeks ago that she was at the last meeting early, helping Sarah get set up because she wasn't feeling well. And so that was a very short time to have once she was sick, but we're thankful that she's not suffering. And if you can just keep all of her family in your prayers and your clerk family, we'd appreciate that. And to let you also know that we will continue to perform our duties as well as we can, and make sure that we honor her by continuing that tradition of good service to the Board of County Commissioners. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Okay, we'll call our meeting to order. We'll have our invocation by Ms. Glenda Brayman and Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Harvey.
Let us bow our heads. Father God, as we come together this morning as citizens of Putnam County and the governing body, Lord, we lift up to you Tony Weaver and her family and friends as they mourn her passing. We thank you for her dedicated duty to Putnam County and for the clerk of court. Lord, as we come this morning, we come with questions in our hearts, not just the questions of business, but the question of the passing of friends. Lord, we seek your wisdom and your guidance in all that is said and spoken today. We continue to seek unity and community. We ask, O Lord, that your presence, your guidance, and your wisdom would lead us to answers that will help our community grow and prosper. We place our questions, our solutions, and dreams in your hands, Almighty Father, knowing that through you all things are possible. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Have we had a chance to look at our minutes?
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of the minutes.
Second.
Proper first and a proper second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we have a proper approval of our minutes. We're going to move to the election of a chairman and a vice chair. Do I have any motions?
Well, I think Mr. Suggs has to read something, right?
Okay.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, I'll step to the podium. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners.
Morning.
Yes, sir, this is the morning that we elect a vice chair, or a new chairman and a vice chair. I'll read from the paper here this morning on the process, and then we'll go through the actual procedure if you don't mind. The moderator will open the floor for nominations. Nominations do not require a second. If only one name is placed in nomination, the moderator will ask for a motion to close the nominations and select the nominee by acclamation. Excuse me, I'm still a little upset this morning. A second to the motion and a vote will follow. If more than one name is placed in the nomination, the moderator will ask for a motion to close the nominations. A second to the motion and vote will follow. The moderator will then ask for a show of hands in support of the nominees in the order in which they were nominated. The moderator will acknowledge the newly elected chairman. The same procedure will follow for the election of the vice chair. So at this time, Mr. Chairman,
Mr.
is-
Chairman, I'd like to make a recommendation. And I want to do this properly because I've worked with this gentleman for a few years now and grown to the utmost respect of him and the hard work and dedication that he has shown. But I'd like to nominate Commissioner Bill Pickens as the chairman of the Board of County Commissioners for the next year.
Mr. Chairman, I move nominations cease.
Mr. Chairman, we have is there any,
If there are additional nominations, that would require a vote and passage by 2/3.
But if nominations cease, there is no more.
Correct.
Okay.
so by that, with one name being submitted for the role of chairman, it is at this time that I will ask as moderator that we pass this nomination by acclamation. Is there a motion to that?
Mr. Chairman, pass it by acclamation. Mr. Moderator, by acclamation.
Is there a second?
Second.
Very good. Congratulations, Mr. Bill Pickens, as the newly elected chairman of the Board of County Commissioners. Now, Mr. Chairman, our second procedure this morning will require that we open up nominations for vice chair for the Board of County Commissioners. Do we have a,
Mr. Moderator?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a recommendation for another fine gentleman that I've worked with. To my left, Commissioner Terry Turner for vice chair.
is there any other nominations? Hearing any other nominations, the nominations for vice chair for Commissioner Terry Turner are hereby closed. Do we have a vote of acclamation for
Move a
Commissioner
motion
Terry
of
Turner?
acclamation to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. If I could, Commissioner Pickens, if you would join me at the podium, sir? Or Chairman Pickens, I am so sorry. And while waiting for Chairman Pickens to join me at the podium, I want to take an opportunity this morning, point of privilege if I might, as the administrator. You know, the last 14, 15 months has been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of work, but it's been a lot of fun. And, you know, and the running joke is we're all getting along so well and doing a lot of good things together. And when someone always wants to ask me, who's your favorite commissioner on the dais? Well, my answer has always been the standing, you know, all 5 of them, you know. And when I'm talking to a commissioner, I'm always reminded that you're one of my 5 favorite commissioners, you know, and I enjoy working for each of you. But I will say this, and this is the truth this morning, that Commissioner Goddard, you have been my favorite chairman for the last year. So, okay. But at this time, I'd like to go ahead and ask the rest of the commissioners to join me and Chairman Pickens down here at the podium for a quick presentation. Thank you.
It's truly honored to be elected chairman, and I appreciate your confidence in me, and I will do my best to lead by example. I'd like to, as my first act as chairman, is to recognize somebody who has done that for this past year, Chairman Buddy Goddard. Buddy and I were elected at the same time 2 years ago, and Buddy stepped up a year ago to accept the vice chair. I didn't feel I was ready. My plans were to be in my 3rd year, and hopefully my plan will work out well. So, Buddy, it's a true honor to be able to give you this gavel to recognize your hard work, your dedication, and leadership to this commission, our staff, our department heads, constitutional officers, and the citizens of Putnam County for this past year. Congratulations. It's an honor to serve with you.
Thought I could step away from the mic. Well, I want to say thank you to everyone. Everyone has treated me very well. It's been a training progress here, and everyone up here is quite often said, excuse me, you can't do that yet. You have to do this. And there is a lot to learn. There's a lot to do. It's very, very time-consuming to be the chairman. But I have thoroughly enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it, and I do like the progress that we've made in the last several years. I'm very pleased working with these people, working with everyone. So thank you. Thank you very much. Chairman?
Mr. Chairman, this concludes our nominations and appointments for chair and vice chair. Good luck this year. Our office door is always open to you. Anytime you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to come and see us. And I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome officially Commissioner Jeff Rawls to the family. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Administrator Suggs, and that's what I wanted to do as my second official act as chairman, is to welcome Jeff Rawls. Jeff Rawls is new elected commissioner for District 2, and I look forward to serving with Jeff and the experiences that Jeff will bring to this board. Jeff, at the end of the meeting, I will call on you last for some commissioner comments, so if you just want to prepare for that. Our next item is item number 4, which is public comment. This portion of the agenda is designed to allow citizens an opportunity to bring matters of attention to the board. It's not reasonable for us to just enter into a discussion of items that are presented that are not on the agenda. There are blue cards in the foyer there that you could sign and turn in to Sarah Oliver, our clerk. If you wish to speak, you don't have to have a card, but we prefer that you do have a card. If you'll limit your comments to 3 minutes, and when you get to the podium, if you'll please speak loudly into the microphone and introduce your name and your address. The first person we have is Miss Elizabeth Bacon Smith.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Elizabeth Bacon Smith, 203 Morrison Road, Interlaken, Florida, 32148. My shirt is an example of the best laid plans of mice and men. I showed up last week wearing it, not knowing that last week was the installation, I guess it was called.
Swearing in.
The what? The swearing in ceremony. I thought it was the last commission meeting where Chip would be here and I'd be able to look him in the eyes and thank him for his service, so I wore his shirt. Instead, it appeared to be a public protest, which it was not. So anyway, now Chip is not here, but I did return wearing the shirt, and I will instead will look all of you in the eyes and thank Chip for his 12 years of dedication and service to Putnam County, and to express my sincere hope that his successor, Jeff Rawls, will do a good job. So the second part of my reason for being up here is to thank, I didn't have time to get my notes in order, so it may be a bit disjointed. County District Judge Libby Morris, Supervisor of Elections Charles Overturf, former Chairman Buddy Goddard, and County Attorney Stacy Manning for their phenomenal job of doing the machine and manual recounts. It was a hard-wrought process. I saw the grit of many, and most particularly Judge Libby Morris, and the dedication that it took to be there extremely long hours under these harsh lights that the county has. I was very pleased with the process. At the beginning, I felt compelled to say, do the right thing. and I did that several meetings going into it. At the end of it, the last couple of meetings, it didn't even occur to me to say that because I saw that they were very dedicated in doing the right thing. And we in Putnam County can be proud of the fact that our recount went ethically and in a stellar manner. And I want to thank everyone who was involved, including all of the county staff who also had to be there long hours. So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Chairman, if I may?
Yeah, Commissioner Goddard?
Yes. I just want to tell you, thank you for being there because it was long hours and you were there and you even brought, although I didn't get any, but you did bring donuts and some fruits. Thank you very much.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. We're very lucky to have Charles Overturf and his staff and then all the volunteers. And Commissioner Harris told me to try to avoid the canvassing board because it's a lot of work, and I've been able to do it for the past 2 years. So, but I commend Commissioner Goddard for his work. So, any more public comment? Okay, we'll close the public comment of this meeting. And before we go to the consent agenda, I'd just like to recognize a couple of people that are in the audience. Ms. Dana Jones, the President of the Chamber of Commerce, and Brian Bergen, Vice President of Economic Development. And I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize former state legislator and current St. Johns River State President, Mr. Joe Pickens, and my brother, and his lovely wife, Carol, are here today. And I'm also, and I think I have this right. If I make a mistake, it's just my first mistake that I'm going to make. Is we have 3 members of our Zoning Board of Adjustment here, I believe, today. Ms. Linda Osborne is the chairperson, right behind, 2 rows back, so I don't think they're breaking the sunshine law. Earl Bellinger, and then all the way in the back is Mark Fisher. And they serve on the Zoning Board of Adjustment, and I appreciate your service to the county. Thank you. Okay, item number 5, the consent agenda. Are there any items that any of the commissioners would like to pull?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to pull, I wanted to talk about D, but we'll do that another time, but I'd like to pull item H, please.
H, Commissioner Turner,
I have none, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Goddard,
I have none.
Commissioner Rawls.
I have none.
Okay, and I have none either. So item number H,
Thank you, Mr.
Commissioner
Chairman.
Hardy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We talked about this, Mr. Suggs and I, yesterday at length, but just so the public understands, we are actually, this contract right here with the tires is not going to limit us to our conversation we had in the workshop a couple weeks ago about looking at new ideas for our tire shredding in Putnam County. And Mr. Suggs assured me that a presentation will be forthcoming. Was that how I understood that to be? So,
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair, Commissioner Harvey, we have asked the solid waste director to do research on individual types and different types of grinding facilities that we may be able to bring in here to deal with our tire issues. We've also will be looking at other means of recycling as well as disposal of those tires. And so we'll be putting a presentation together in the near future when research is able to be concluded and a presentation put together.
thank you, Mr. Suggs. And Mr. Chairman, this is exciting. I know it might not seem exciting to the general public, but this is a step in the right direction of what we could possibly do with our tires and how we could use this out at the landfill in a positive way for our citizens of Putnam County. So, Mr. Chairman, I am done, and thank you. I yield the floor, sir.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Turner.
I just wanted to make a quick comment that this contract doesn't limit us to just selling tires at $120 a ton. We can stop at any time. We can not send them whatever we don't want to send them. All it does is lock in their price if we decide to send it to them. So I just wanted to also make that clear.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the consent agenda items A through L.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a proper first and a proper second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Next item, number 6, Clerk of Court, Mr. Tim Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think most of you received an email yesterday from Susan that talked about we'd gotten another reimbursement from FEMA, so we're somewhere in the $4 million range reimbursement for Hurricane Irma. So neither Susan and I are aware of what the balance still owed is. We didn't have time to check that in that short time frame, but we're getting most of it, so that's good news.
Yeah, thank you. That is fantastic news. Commissioner Turner?
Yes, Stacy, can you, do you know, doesn't that money all go back? Didn't we borrow that money from the sanitation fund? So all that money's basically repaying the loan that we borrowed from the sanitation fund?
Yes, Susan, Frank, and I discussed this yesterday, and all of the money went back to sanitation fund.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I might just chime in for just a second. I think it'd be remiss if we didn't, when a year and a half ago, the charge was started here in Putnam County for the rural counties to push for getting our reimbursements from FEMA back in a more timely manner to deal with the cost of these storms. And I think it would be important for us to remember that this morning and thank this Board of County Commissioners and those that led the charge. I think you can see the fruit is bearing now. And not only have we recovered our Matthew money that we were missing, but Irma's coming in a whole lot quicker than what others have. So as the county administrator over finances, and we certainly appreciate that charge, but again, I think it just shows what you can do when you set your mind to it. And this commission did a great job last year with fighting that battle, and we're benefiting from it today. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I'd just like to add to that. I spoke to the Republican Club a couple weeks ago, and I mentioned that the reimbursements are coming faster, and I just want to commend Commissioner Harvey and I believe Commissioner Turner for going down, I think, to Fort Lauderdale to a convention to bring that to the attention of them, and it sure has paid off. So, any other comments?
That's all we have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay, the next item, number 7, I guess it's at 10 o'clock certain, so do we need to adjourn until 10 o'clock?
Recess till 10 o'clock, yes,
Excuse
sir,
me.
and that would be, both those will be public hearings.
All right, Commissioner Harvey?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay, we'll recess until 10 o'clock. In about a minute.
I thought she wasn't going. She changed her mind when I had a little talk with her. I'm hanging out with you. Okay, you can still hang with me.
Buttercup.
Sarah, are you ready? Okay, I'd like to reconvene our meeting at 10 o'clock. Brandon, can you hear me now? Okay, I want to make it official. Mark, can you hear me back there? Okay, they said I needed to speak up a little bit, so. Anyway, we have a planning and development public hearing. Mike Brown is going to be the presenter. Item A is case number CA 18-001. And I'll turn it over to Mike Brown.
Mr. Chairman, Mike Brown, Planning and Development Services. The first code amendment to the Land Development Code, case CA 18-001. This is a county-initiated request to amend the Land Development Code, Article 2, Section 20410, to remove, basically delete the requirement that in residential zoning districts, generators larger than 22 kW may only be placed in those residential zoning districts with a special use permit. Through the last couple of years with the storms, there's been a demand for generators to basically handle the entire house. The 22 kW is too small, and rather than require a special use permit for anything larger, staff is requesting removal of that requirement completely. It still requires certain setbacks to be met, and also a site development plan to be submitted. but it removes the requirement for a special use permit. Any questions of staff?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Harvey?
thank you. Mr. Brown, thank you, number one, for this. This is a long time coming. I asked Mr. Hammonds when he was here about this, and he did not like the sound of generators. But I think when we have a disaster, that's the best sound that you can have in your neighborhood, is to hear generators going and people living. My concern is the fact that, and I don't know much about LP gas or natural gas. I guess natural gas doesn't require on-site storage. So with a 2,000 gallon tank, that's a pretty big one. But, I mean, what if
Right.
somebody had like a 30,000 kW? What would the tank requirement be? Because I know there has to be a requirement, and I don't want to have people hampered by that tank requirement.
I would have to look at that. I don't have an answer for you right here.
I would imagine 2,000 gallons is plenty.
It's pretty big, yeah.
Right, but
If I can interject, this will be heard a second.
Time, yes.
We will have to have a second public hearing before we can actually move forward on this, and maybe Mr. Brown can have an answer
In
to
the
that by
meantime, I
the
can
second
look at
hearing.
that.
okay,
Yeah.
thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Manning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions of staff?
I do, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Rawls?
So 22,000 kW is going to give you about 100 amps. And most homes could easily operate, especially in an emergency situation, on that. Is there anything, because I've not actually read the ordinance, is there anything that addresses noise or noise levels at a maximum?
No,
So-
not from the sound standpoint, no.
So I don't think anybody would care what size generator is running as long as they didn't have to hear it if the noise is the problem. Would it not be prudent to take a look at the feasibility of having quiet generators? Because this is in my wheelhouse, so I know the differences in generators, and we've installed quiet ones, and we've installed some that are very noisy, that run off propane, diesel, and gasoline. So I would think that one of the problems that you might be looking at in the future is noise. If somebody comes in there with like a 45 kW generator that's designed to be more like on a job site, and it runs off of diesel, and they park it within the prescribed distances, and somebody complains about that. So I'd like to see some research on that, maybe
Okay.
next, the second reading.
Okay, is that possible?
I'll do the research. I don't know what the answer is right now, but we can do the research
Okay.
in between when we have the second and final reading for this. This is just the first reading for this change.
Has there been any conversation about a maximum size that anybody's looking at?
There's, the way it's drafted, there is no maximum placed in there. I mean, a little of the history originally was at the time when they adopted the 22 kW size limit was primarily for a perceived sound issue and noise issue.
Right.
And that's why they wanted to, that's why the code then required a special use permit so that it could be looked at that point. But with the proposed change, as staff has proposed, there would be no limit right now. I mean, if that change is adopted.
Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Commissioner Turner?
A little history on where this came from. There was a gentleman here in the county that had an engineer figure what he needed for his whole house generator, and he needed 27 kW. The 22 kW was the most that he could have. So as of this present time, if I'm not mistaken, that gentleman has a 27 kW sitting in his garage ready to hook up because he can't hook it up without getting a special exception. We say, okay, special exception, that's no big deal. Well, it is. It's $600 or $700 in an application fee and waiting 3 months. And that's what we're trying to avoid by this. You know, if it turns out in the future that people are putting too big a generator or doing something wrong, then at that time, we could always revisit this if it became an issue in the future. I just don't think it's gonna become an issue that people put in too big a generators, you know, or make too much noise or what have you. In my neighborhood, whenever we had the power out for a week or two, it was kind of nice to listen to generators around the neighborhood. Then you knew who you could go eat lunch with if you needed to.
That's right, that's right.
So anyhow, just a little bit of history on why we're trying to go here.
Okay. Any other comment or questions? Do we need to have public comment?
Yes, sir.
Okay. At this time, I'd like to open the public comment portion of this public hearing. Anybody wishing to speak for or against this ordinance? Seeing none, I'll close the public comment portion. And so we don't need to take action, it's just this is the first reading?
It is the first reading. I guess you could accept a motion to present this for a second reading at an upcoming board meeting.
Okay, the chair will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we accept this as our first reading and move on to a second reading.
Okay, got a
I'll
proper
second that.
motion, proper and second. Any discussion?
I just have one. Commissioner Goddard feels good to make a motion now, doesn't it?
It does.
You didn't wait to say that, have you?
I've been waiting a whole year for that.
He did jump right on that, didn't he?
He did.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Going to move forward to the second reading.
Mr. Chairman, the second item is, again, a code amendment to the Land Development Code, Article 6, Section 60518, and this is case CA 18002. This is really, again, a staff-initiated amendment change to bring our code more consistent with changes and address changes in the Florida Building Code. The change basically requires mobile homes, either individual sites or in mobile home parks, for the bottom of the frame of the mobile home to be at the base flood elevation. There's adequate distance, we believe, as staff, between the bottom of the frame and the livable floor area to address the 1 foot that we had in there before. The way we read this, it would, without this change, it would require the bottom of the frame to be 1 foot above the 1 foot. So you're 2 feet above. So from a staff standpoint, it's just really bringing our code consistent with changes in the Florida Building Code. And you have any questions of staff on that?
Okay, any questions of staff?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a comment.
Commissioner Harvey?
Thank you, sir. Mr. Brown, this is really, might sound burdensome, but it's really a good thing for the citizen who lives in that mobile home. If they require flood insurance, the higher up they are, the better off the price is.
Yeah.
So it's really a good thing, and it protects them from flood. And you're right, I believe at the bottom of the frame gives you probably a 12-inch beam plus your
Right.
riser, 6-inch riser, so you're well aware. But I think this is a great start, and this will help out the cost price of flood insurance at that mark. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, any other questions? I do have a question because I'm not a builder, but Mike, I see that in there, all manufactured homes that are placed, replaced, or substantially improved
Right.
would fall into this. Where does substantially improved and who makes that determination?
The county building official will make that determination. And he's probably making faces at me right now. But,
I think he's looking at me like, why'd I ask that question?
but it's his call on substantially approved. I believe that there are some definitions as it relates to the percentage of cost based on the value of the structure, but I'm not 100%. I'd have to defer to John on that.
John, do you mind coming and addressing that? I just wonder if there's a threshold of if they, do a certain amount of work, where does it trip that threshold to where it has to be
You know why he sits on the back row, where he has enough time to think about what he's gonna say before he gets here.
I could tell you that I don't make that determination. The Florida Building Code has made that determination for us. Substantial improvement, if you have a house that's worth $12,000 and you're into it for $10,000 of repairs, it's substantial improvement. So what the changes are is we're mirroring the Florida Building Code. This is not, if we leave it the way it is right now, the mobile home would have to be even 2 feet higher than base, and that's not gonna work out. So the extra cost for the homeowner and all that stuff is not. So we're mirroring what the Florida Building Code says, but I don't make the determination. We look at the values, what's on the property appraiser and what the value of the property is. And from there, it's a cost adjustment, how substantial gets implemented into it. So if you got a $200 repair on a $24,000 house, you're fine. There's no need to elevate the property. Minor repairs, it doesn't affect it, but if it got hit by a tree and it's, go over 50% damage, then you're definitely gonna be raising that
Raising it
structure.
up. Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
I have one. How does this address mobile homes that are set on concrete?
They still need to be above the base flood elevation. I mean, that's for, any livable structure, habitable structure, the bottom floor has to be above the base flood elevation. So it stands for those on concrete also.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman. Mike, would you
Commissioner
know,
Turner?
is this an X and an A zone, or just an A zone, or all of it, anywhere?
Yeah, it's it's above whatever the base flood elevation is. So it doesn't matter what zone it is. If there's a base flood elevation, it's got to be above that.
Well, it matters what the flood elevation is. It matters from an A to an X, and
Yeah.
so of how high you need and how much freeboard you need and all the different things. You need more in an A than you do in an X, so.
But the freeboard, what this says, it's wherever that base flood elevation is determined to be.
Okay,
The bottom of the frame needs to be at that level or higher.
okay, thank you.
I have one more question. On your base flood elevation, let me think how to frame this. There used to be a zoning letter of approval that the county would give out to homeowners. Is it possible to go back to that and address
Yeah, we
this
have
in that?
those. Yeah, you can still get those. Yes, those are available.
Okay, because that used to be required, and I think that'd be beneficial to homeowners that are looking to place something. If they got this letter, it would have the base flood elevation, setbacks, everything.
And we fill out hundreds of those a year. We do those. Again, it's based on somebody asking for it, but we still issue those.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, we'll move this to the public comment portion. I'd like to open that. Any persons wishing to speak against or for this ordinance? Seeing none, I'll close the public comment portion. And Chair will entertain a motion to move, this is
Same
same thing? Okay, so we'll move, Chair will entertain a motion to move this to the second reading.
So
So
moved.
moved.
You're not gonna let Buddy
Second.
make it?
Second, no, second, Mr. Rawls.
We have a motion by Commissioner Rawls, seconded by Commissioner Turner. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Moves to the second reading.
Can staff just ask one more question of the commission? When we haven't advertised for the second meeting, and our code, I believe requires it to be after 5 o'clock, so it'll be a 5:05. I'm just wondering when you would want to have that meeting. Do you have a
Enough time
preference?
for the first meeting in January,
We can do
I
it.
mean,
December.
December. The only reason I'm
We can do it-
asking
we can
is
do
that
it,
we've
yes.
got people that have been waiting on this for months, if
Yeah,
we could go ahead and get it heard.
Yeah, we can do it the first that Tuesday of the first
Yeah, the
board meeting?
second Tuesday of
Second
December.
Tuesday?
Mr. Chairman, that will be December 11th, 5:05 public hearing is what I'm hearing here. So
We can
let's
do
go ahead
that.
and advertise it for that. And Board of County Commissioners, unless there's any other discussion after this, I believe that's the only meeting that's scheduled for the month of December. So we need to have it certainly by the 11th of December.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Okay, we'll close the public hearing. We'll move on to appointments. Any appointments? Start over to the left with Commissioner Harvey.
I have none, sir.
Commissioner Turner.
Yes, on the planning commission, I have Erin Fortner that's going to, her term is going to expire. I would like to reappoint her. I think she's an at-large position, so I think we have to vote on her.
That's correct.
Okay. Commissioner Goddard.
I have none.
Okay, Commissioner Rawls.
None at this time.
Mr. Chairman, I overlooked somebody. May I go back, please? On the Zoning Board of Adjustments, Faith Sparkman has indicated the desire to serve again, so I'd like to appoint her, please.
Okay, so Faye Sparkman to the ZBOA.
Yes,
Okay, and that one does not need to be voted on?
That's correct.
Okay, so the only one is for the Planning Commission? Okay, do I hear a motion to appoint Erin Fortner to
So
the
moved.
Planning Commission? Okay, we got a motion, got a second?
I second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign.
Also, as an at-large position, Linda is here. Linda, would you be wanting to carry forward with the ZBOA? Okay, then I will move that I nominate Linda Osborne, whose term expires the end of December, for another term which would expire in 2022.
second.
Second.
We need to vote on that?
Yes, sir.
It's an
Okay.
at-large.
Okay, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Okay, and I will contact Chase Barnes. I nominated him last time, so I'll contact him. Hopefully have a recommendation next meeting. So, okay, that all the appointments? Okay, we'll move to closing comments. County Administrator?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Again, congratulations, Commissioner Pickens, on your appointment this morning, and Commissioner Turner. I just want to say that the Christmas parade, I guess, for lack of a better term, cycle is in full form now. So we had a great turnout this past Friday for the City of Palatka Christmas Parade. Tons of folks participated in that. Also, just want to say that we're going to be, between now and probably the first of the year, there'll be a lot of vacation time scheduled for staff. So, they'll be getting me their schedules, and we'll make sure that we have coverage. But I just want to make sure that we're also available still to answer whatever questions the commissioners may have. I understand that we're also going to the Florida Association of Counties legislative session later today. So I'll be out of the office until Friday, as well as Mr. Manning. And so will Ms. Papel. Mr. Reynolds has the comm, so to speak. So feel free to call him, email him, text him, anything that you might need in those next 3 days. But anyway, it's been a good year, Commissioner Goddard. Certainly enjoyed working with you as chairman this year. I'll say this, and I mean this sincerely. It was very nice to see please don't take this out of context, but the growth from that seat. It's been a real pleasure to serve with you this year. Commissioner Pickens, I'm looking for the same, and my door's always open, as you know. But this is the holiday season, so I wish nothing but the best for all my commissioners and my staff. And, please don't forget, let's keep Miss Tony's family in our prayers. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. County Attorney Stacy Manning?
Thank you, Chairman. First of all, I want to echo congratulations to our new chairman and vice chairman. Looking forward to it. And congratulations to Mr. Rawls, our newest commissioner on the board. It's going to be fun. I also want to thank all of you that participated in the meal that we had last week before Thanksgiving. That was very nice, very, very much appreciated. I just want to also let you all know that in addition to time off around Christmas, I've got to have a medical procedure done right after Christmas, so there'll be a little bit of an extended period of time that I will be out. I think that's scheduled for the 27th of December, and then I'll be out through all of that first week in January, I believe. So it'll be about 10 days total, and then there's a couple days around Christmas, so it'll be hit or miss. So if there's things we need to address before that, please get with me.
Question?
Yes,
You're gonna be out January 3rd.
yes.
Okay, Amanda, excuse me, Mr. Chairman. We're gonna have to reschedule that solid waste adjustment committee from the January the 3rd until after he comes back, because he has to be there. Okay, sorry.
Thank you. And then I just want to express my condolences and my prayers for Ms. Weaver's family. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner comments? I'll start to my left with Commissioner Harvey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do want to also say that to Commissioner Goddard, thank you. I know how difficult it is to put everybody else's agenda before yours. And I was pleasantly surprised to see you make a motion today as quick as you did. It's bottled up. It needs to come out. I get it. I remember when I got off, I was on all 8 cylinders at that moment. But you did a great job leading us, and I want you to know that. And although we made fun of you hitting the gavel a lot, but you know, everybody has their own style, and greatly appreciate that. Do want to give a shout out to Vulcan Materials. If you didn't see on Facebook, they provided the paint for the Interlachen High School football stadium. They came out. We had about 46 volunteers who came out and painted the football stadium in Interlachen, and that was really a great day. Again, don't ever invite me over to paint. I'm not a painter. I wear more than I put on. I don't know how I get it all over me, but I do, and it just seems to follow me. This coming Saturday, the Interlachen Christmas celebration is in full steam ahead. Hopefully it won't rain, and we'll be having a parade that night, a parade of lights, and that's always a great time. Do want to say something about Tony. I'd be remiss if I didn't. When I first started here, trying to keep your feet on the ground and find out where information was is always difficult with any new commissioner. And Commissioner Rawls, I would encourage you to look for these people who can help you, point you in the right direction. But Tony was always there with information, minutes, and anything that I needed to do my job better. And we have staff like that now with Sarah. She can help navigate that, and Tabitha is our long-standing person. But I will say that I will miss Tony. I will miss her straightforwardness that she did. You didn't have to beat around the bush to know how Tony felt. She'd let you know. But Tony was honest, and as all of our staff is. But I really enjoyed working with Tony, and I'm going to miss her terribly. And I will be praying for her and her family as we go in. One last thing, we did celebrate Thanksgiving last week. So I took the liberty to have some, if you will pass this down to the respected person that's on there. Okay. And you can hold up. So next time you're out working in the community, hold up your shirt there, Mr. Chairman, and show them what you can present the pride of Putnam County as the Putnam County Commissioner. So I have one to match, okay? So there.
Well, thank you very much.
I'm very thankful for this board and the privilege of working with such fine gentlemen, so thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, that is the end of my comments.
Okay, thank you very much, Commissioner Harvey, for everything you do for this board and throughout the community. Immediate past chairman, Buddy Goddard.
Well, thank you. As usual, I always have to make a comment about how beautiful Putnam County is. I still love riding around. We were out riding around this weekend before last, and we were entertained with a bear that came right up close to our Jeep. My wife was very excited because I had the Jeep completely open, and but she got some very good pictures when she calmed down. But there are so many things around here to enjoy. You just got to get out there. Again, you mentioned the parades. I wasn't at the Palaca Parade, but I did get to see it on Facebook, and it was incredible. It looked great. Looked like it was phenomenal. But there's also the parade down in Crescent City. That'll be this Saturday in the morning. In the afternoon, we'll be interlocking, and the following Saturday is over at Willaca. So there's plenty to be done, and I want to say, again, condolences to the Weaver family. That was a shock this morning, and that I really enjoyed being chairman up here. I enjoy working with this group. It's been entertaining. So with that, I'm finished. Thanks.
Mr. Chairman, if I could follow up on Commissioner Goddard's comments on the beauty of Putnam County, it reminded me that we were informed last week that, every year the Florida Association of Counties puts out a calendar, and people submit photos of the different counties, or the 67 counties around the state, to be shown for a particular month on that calendar, and Putnam County was chosen for a month. So we'll find out while we're down in Tampa the next couple of days what month we get and what the picture is. But it just goes to show you that it's another opportunity to showcase the beauty of Putnam County, and others see it too when they have the opportunity to actually come here or see pictures of Putnam County. So it's what brought me here, and I love seeing that others around the state can also recognize what we have here.
Okay, thank you.
Chairman, if you don't mind, I'm going to add in on that one. If you're coming in on 207 heading into East Palaca, there's a billboard on the left-hand side. It's a Hope FM billboard. And the reason I really noticed that is a picture that my wife took at the riverfront at Hope FM asked to use, and so it does show the beauty of our riverfront. So anyway, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And to our newest commissioner, Commissioner Rawls.
I'll keep this short. It is a great privilege to be able to work with you guys and the public as well, and I do look forward to this term. I've got a lot of hopes and aspirations. We'll see how they go, but I really do look forward to working with you guys, and we'll be keeping the Weaver family in our prayers as well. Although I didn't know Tony that well, I have talked with her on several occasions, and it was kind of a shock to hear this morning when I came in.
Okay, thank you. First, I'd like to start with.
If I skip, leave.
Did I skip you?
Yeah, you did. Damn, skip.
Not a good way to start off.
Is that my first mistake or second mistake?
Nobody's counting.
Excuse me. To the new vice chair, Commissioner Turner.
I would also like to join everyone in thanking Buddy for an excellent job as chair. I'm proud of him, and the growth that he made throughout the year and showed. I'm proud of that. So, very good job, well done, sir.
Thank you.
I'd also like to congratulate my friend Bill Pickens for being chair today. I hope that when he's done, that it's as good as it is today. I'd also like to welcome Commissioner Rawls and look forward to working with him. I'm sure that we can find common ground on a lot of issues that we can really move the county forward on, and I'm looking forward to it. The parade in Palaca was a good time. I enjoyed it. We all got together. Commissioner Goddard couldn't make it, but we put his signs on the truck because we missed him, and he was off at a wedding, I think, and so hopefully in Crescent City, most of us can show up next week and do it again. I think it's really great to do these together when we can to show unity, and on the issues, and I'd also like to extend my condolences to Tony's family. I think she was very good at what she did, and she helped me out a lot throughout the year. So she had a history, because she'd been here so long and been in every meeting, taking notes and doing minutes. She had a better knowledge of what was going on around here than anybody else I could find to talk to. She was just, and she was a wonderful person. So with that being said, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I see Miss Elizabeth wants to make a comment. Can she do that since the public comment is over with?
You're the chairman.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Would you like to make a comment?
Now, I just believe that there is a
She'll have to come.
Can you
Come to the
up
microphone.
Can you come to the podium?
Okay, Elizabeth Bacon Smith, 203 Morrison Road, Interlachen, Florida, 32148. And I believe that there is a parade in Melrose this weekend also.
The 15th.
Is it the 15th? Okay, just looking out for Melrose. Thank you.
We got that on our calendar too.
Okay. Thank you. And did I forget anybody? Anybody else? Okay. I would like to thank everybody that was involved in the organization of the Palatka Christmas Parade. Sam Deputy, when he asked me to be in it, actually mentioned that I probably should be in it when I was campaigning. He said there'll be 2,000 to 5,000 people there, and I said, well, I'm sure there will be. But anyway, it's incredible. And the organization and the support of the community with the floats, and we did have enough candy this time. We ran out right at the end of the route, but it was really neat to see all the children there, and just a great showcase for Palatka. The fifth annual Christmas Bazaar is at the Crescent City Lions Club is putting that on, and it's in Eva Lions Park. It starts Friday afternoon with some events, and then has a parade and events going on all Saturday. The parade is at noon, and I do have us entered. If any of y'all want to come, just get with me. We'll probably meet at my parts store and then go get lined up. And also, you mentioned the Interlachen Parade. So I would like to definitely again welcome Jeff Ross to the commission, and look forward to working with you, and to commend Buddy Goddard for his leadership. Buddy improved each week. I hope I can do that also, and just got better and better. And Buddy's heart is in the right place, and definitely is just so involved in the community, and works really hard as being a commissioner. So I just commend you and thank you for serving with you. I want to congratulate Commissioner Turner as vice chair, and look forward to working with you. I hope that I can make all the meetings and don't have to throw any on you. But I think my first one will be tomorrow. If you take care of the Logic Committee for me tomorrow, I won't be able to be there. It's truly an honor to accept this chairmanship. It is with a heavy heart. Tony Weaver was a special person. I've worked with Tony for 2 years, and Tony was always willing, as everybody said, to do what she could to help you, bring you information, and always had that smiling face. So if we really could keep Tony Weaver's family in our prayers and thoughts as we move forward. And like I say, I am honored to be the chairman of this commission for the end of this year and for 2019. I think we've made some great strides in 2018. We have a great county administrator. We have a great staff. I hope to work well with the constitutional officers and the department heads to move this county forward in 2019. We have a transportation meeting at 2 o'clock, gentlemen. Is there any further business to come before this commission? We stand adjourned.